We're here. Welcome. My name is Holden Stefan Roy. This is Bridge the Gap, the show where we talk to interesting people such as yourself, Mr. Mike Device. Basically, we go through the story of your life and we try to extract some knowledge nuggets from your existence in order to better our wisdom and understanding. And while you may be laughing like I'm being hyperbolic, this is pretty much how I start all my shows. So it just
I
happened.
know, I know. I watch the interviews, man.
And it's like, yep, Mike's like,
I like
I'm
what you
ready
do.
for this. But with that, we want to do this right, which means we gotta do the opening question. But before we can do that, it doesn't make a lot of sense to the world unless we know where Mike Device starts his life.
I was born at Jefferson Davis Hospital on the south side of Houston, Texas, on a dark and stormy Thursday.
Was it actually a Thursday, or did you just like
It
add
was
that in?
actually a Thursday. I was
Fire,
born on Thursday.
get it. So we starting off in Houston in a dark and stormy world. Basically, the first question's a bit of a story. If you've watched, you know how it goes. We're still gonna run it anyway, and it
Yep.
all starts off with my girlfriend, and she's washing the dishes. And you gotta keep in mind it's about a year ago. So she's washing the dishes about a year ago, and she's got her phone out, and she's playing that Black Eyed Peas song. The I got a feeling. Ooh. She's doing her thing. She's dancing. She's vibing. And I'm like staring at her. I look at her and I go to myself and I say, when the fuck did this song become chores music? Because like if you really like think about this track in particular, right? This
Yeah.
song is basically some shit that run it back 10 years. This is highlighted the night shit. This is like motherfuckers be mad drunk in the club dancing, but also at the schools, but also everywhere. It's like this song's a smash. Like it's a party song. 10 years goes by, the song don't really change at all because songs don't really change a lot. But all of a sudden, we change so very much that like this song has now evolved its place in our cultural lexicon to be chores music or exercise music and all kinds of stuff like that. And I thought that was wild, right? Because then you think about the little ones out there and how they be like, I hear your phone. I see you panicking. Like, gotta stop that.
I'm stopping it now.
I hear you.
I'm listening though. I'm
So you
listening.
see all the little ones, and they be bumping their shit, and they have no idea that one day in the future they're gonna be sitting there washing their fucking dishes to Pop Smoke and shit, and they don't know that when I found out about Pop Smoke, I started washing my dishes to Pop Smoke and shit because that's just kind of what happens when we find out about the little ones' hot stuff. We just kind of make it our chores music because that's just what it is for them in the future. But that got me thinking about how like all this stuff is like journeys and how we all kind of go on our destinations over time and everything evolves. And how when it comes to music, most people don't really start it at a good place. They kind of pick this adolescent, identity driven, like I became a man moments in their life. Like I started listening to hip hop when I was 12 and I found Run Deep, or I started writing raps at this age. And it's like all that's cool, but like I promise when you popped out in the hospital and whatnot, there's probably some song playing on the radio that was absorbing up into you. And the way music works, there's a whole lot of it that you listen to at the super young parts of your life, long before it really becomes like something you have a choice in. Usually, some people are like, "Fuck that! At 2 years old, I'm a DJ." I'm like, "Relax yourself." But like for most of us, it's like it's just stuff around us. Like I can remember being like 5 years old up in Montreal in the apartment. My dad's got all them gray boxes set up, the fucking amp, the preamp, the fucking radio, the tape deck, the this one, and everything set up with the wires, record whatever, play whatever through the speakers and whatnot. Led Zeppelin kind of stuff during the day. At nighttime, it's that MC Mario club mix straight from the clubs in Montreal and whatever else was bopping at the time. What up, CB Mac? I see you. And basically, yeah, my mom, she was more soft rock and fucking musicals and all of that other kind of shit over there, love songs and
Mercy.
stuff. Yeah. So I was surrounded by all of that, depending on who was in charge of the radio at what moment. And all of that basically impacted and influenced me and created a whole musical soundscape of my existence before I have any real control over what I listen to. But all of that impacts me to this very day. I especially do like the sappy shit these days more than I maybe should. But on that note, Mr. Mike Device, can you take us back to the very beginnings of what you can remember and walk us through a little bit about what it sounded like to be you? Because you clearly, from a music sense, do not fit into style. So I imagine there has to be some level of eclecticness in your Houston early days.
So my father was murdered whenever I was about 2 years old, and so my mom was left with me, my sister, and my brother. And really, she didn't work. She didn't have no prospects, so she, took us back. And you do what all poor people do. We gather into hoods. You know what I mean? Dirty ass trailer parks and fucked up places to be that are cheap. So we end up going to the fucking, because my mom, you gotta understand, my mom is she's always been like, you are no better than anybody else, and there was never any kind of hey, we're different. I didn't realize how different I was until motherfuckers started pointing it out. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? You're you know what I mean? But like, I was a pretty obnoxious kid, bro. I was pretty mean, you know what I mean, and surly. I was a shitty kid. I could say that with authority now, looking back. I don't remember too much.
Do you remember
Probably on purpose.
Do you remember what your mom used to listen to?
Oh yeah, she trapped us into fucking big ass LTD. We had a Ford LTD, fucking windows up. She's smoking cigarettes, bro, and jamming the oldies, man. I grew up on some like Creedence Clearwater, on some fucking Ram Jam, on some real
This
like,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah. And so it's that with like, so what I developed early on was an appreciation of music. If I could hear it and understand it, and it would touch my soul in a way that would kind of, shine that light on that feeling I didn't even know I had, until that thought got provoked by a certain melody or a certain combination of words. That's why I think vocal power is like, it's the ultimate. You write your entire ticket in life with the words you use and how you use them. My mom used to tell me, boy, you talk yourself in and out of more shit than motherfuckers could even speak on. And so
So
as I
these
progressed,
oldies that you was bumping, and if
yeah,
we're gonna say this is the late '80s,
yeah,
because the Humpty
yeah,
Dance or the '80s,
that was
because
early. Yeah, this kind of cracking that 90s, that very like 89, 91 something. I don't know. I'm very bad with numbers and memory. So we're just all speculation at this point.
okay, so you grew up in the '80s. That's a clear fact. There's no hiding that, because if you're like ciphering when that track's out at the end of the '80s, Mike's.
Look, I'm pre-internet, man. I'm pre-cell phone. I'm pre all of that shit. We used to dig holes for fucking fun, man.
That's
We
kind of
had
what I
no
wanted
money.
to get to. What is it like? Okay, because you got to keep in mind, part of this for me is curiosity, right? I asked this shit because like I don't fucking know what a guy 10ish years older than me who grew up in fucking Houston back in those days did, let alone did for fun. So it's like
Well,
actually kind of interesting to hear when people are like, "Yo, I fucking
so
dug
I
ditches
grew
for
up in
fun." Like that's a wild thought
shit.
to me because like I grew up in the
Well, yeah,
'90s, right? So it's a bit
I,
later in a completely different place.
I grew up in shitty trailer parks, bro. Like being poor as fuck, not having nothing. And when you're poor as fuck and you don't have nothing, you're kind of commiserating with everybody else who ain't got shit. And so you're just inventing
That's
ways
a
to get in
fact,
fucking
actually.
trouble.
That is exactly
You,
what poor people do.
yeah, I mean, that's, you know what I mean? So, whenever we were younger, right, the 5, 6 year old, we're digging ditches, we're playing football down in the empty lots, we're doing wild shit. But about that time, man, I kind of started getting introduced to, just looking at shit going down around me. That's about when the crack epidemic really, really kicked off, bro. And motherfuckers was going left. Shit was getting ugly out there. And as I grew up, I just kind of always hung around older dudes because who wants to be a little kid? Nobody wants to be a little kid. We rush to become adults, and then we get here and go, "Fuck, man, I should have slowed down and just enjoyed not having any fucking responsibility for a long ass time." But
Y'all got to keep in mind he has 6 kids. When he says that, he means that.
Hey, look, I this is wow. I do. Look, you
There's nothing
never.
wrong with that. His daughter fucking raps now. It's wild.
Well, I mean, I 4 out of my 6 daughters rap, and
Four
two
out of
are.
six.
Oh yeah, it'll get on your head in a second. They they're more like, look, my girls are so rough, bro. I would be scared to see my son. I wanted a son for a long time until my girls started getting a little older, and I was like, dang, you guys are tough. It, and they're pretty, you know, they don't even know how good they got it. They think they got it shitty. And I'm like, and I realized that loop with parenting, right? Your mom and dad was like, you don't know he had to walk to school in 10 miles in the snow and nobody was giving a fuck about us when
Yeah.
we were kids. You're lucky you can eat.
No, but it's like wild to say that. But yeah, I get it. Like you look at, like let's be real. Like even the smartphones are pretty much everywhere at this point for kids.
Right.
So it's like, yo, I remember when like you was like 2 Nintendos back versus like being like where you needed to be.
Look, my cousin, they had money. They lived on the good side of Houston. You know what I mean? And we would always get their kind of hand-me-down shit. So I was rocking the Atari when the Nintendo was really going down. And
Mm, I never.
I had to
I'm
go
too.
to my
I'm
cousin's
just
house
too
to play
young
the good
for
shit.
like Atari to be a viable thing.
Hey,
Like to be
well,
fair,
look,
I did play one of the old fucking ones, the Omicron or one of these fucking box ones, because my boy
what,
had one.
Sega Genesis?
Nah, like one of them old, like, because it was the Commodore maybe. I think I played it.
84?
Yeah, I think I played one of them guys because my dude had it and he had this like ghetto ass fucking game where you were a fucking spaceship shit and you would roam around. But yeah, I also had
Space
like
Invaders.
it wasn't that. It was more like a tank kind of simulator. Like you would picture like one of them tank simulators now,
Yeah.
but with like really shitty
I played
graphics.
the games. I know.
So like I played that shit. And then otherwise, yeah, my dad had the NES when I was born. So the NES was like, and then the SNES came like not long after. Cause my dad did not prioritize a lot, maybe in terms of life, but man, did he fucking manage to get these two consoles, and then it slowed down, and it came to kind of like, we got it a couple years later and shit when it dropped in price, and it wasn't that new price console shit.
Right. I don't know, man. I think of all the fucking years worth of my life I've pissed away playing video games. I'm kind of surly about it. Because if I only applied myself,
Hmm. Look at your imagination today, right?
eh,
Because like I know one thing is video games is one of the mechanisms I use to keep my imagination alive, believe it or not. I
okay.
don't play a lot of the Call of Duty shit, but it's hard to explore shelters in the Fallout wasteland and see all the creative weird shit they do with storytelling and not
I
come out
do.
of there with a couple of new ideas. Whereas like my dad used to make me play like RPGs where I had to read a lot and shit. So like I wasn't playing no fucking action games. I was playing the RPG stat games.
The Dungeons and Dragons.
Effectively, yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
D&D, playing
I'm like,
Magic.
yo, I liked Magic a lot. Yo, Magic is like, I mean, it's whatever, but Magic the Gathering is a really good way to learn about statistical probability, which turned out to be a fucking useful skill in life.
Okay, okay. I like well, I agree with the engagement. The thing that I kind of look at now, I got an Xbox that I don't fuck with. You know what I mean? Like I'm on grown man time right now.
You have
And
kids
if
though.
I yeah, but if I ever had a minute, but see, this is the thing, right? I'm finally in my life at a place where I want to apply myself to what I have a sincere passion for, which is this freestyle shit, right? But part of that is trying to translate that to making like actual music that people can enjoy. Like you're going through my page, and I appreciate that, man. I enjoy that. I'm the biggest narcissist motherfucker out there, bro. I love to hear myself. You know what I mean? Like my mom used to tell you, you love the
Ain't a
sound of your
fucking
own
rapper
voice.
that doesn't love that shit. I know CB Mac also be like, yeah, buddy, play my fucking music.
Eh, but as I'm translating all of that to kind of where I'm at because this is the truth in life, man. Anybody to hear this shit, right? Um, like I wasn't prepared to have children. I never planned to have children, but I would never, abandon my children. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like not take care of them. Like growing up without a father, that's something that kind of stuck with me. Is that you know what I mean? I don't know. I didn't traditionally know what a father is, and I probably still don't. If my wife says I'm stunted in my emotional growth, I can't get past a teenager. She calls me a teenager still. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're gonna be this old rapper. It's sad. And I'm like, at the same time, it's such a just a part of me that it you know like I was rapping before social media, and I didn't even jump on social media till a couple years back. Whenever I was like, I was kind of done with all of the fucking bullshit I was entangled in, and it's been done for a while, and I've just been being, trying to be there for my family and provide. And at this point in time, I'm still rapping to myself in the car, and nobody can enjoy it with me. I used to have the homies that we would run. Well, I'm thick as thieves with motherfuckers. You just click up in little wolf packs and you run around, do what you do. And those are the people I call them the validators, right? Those are your validators. Those are the people that make what you do. They know and you know, but nobody else knows. Who the fuck else can know? You know what I mean? If you
Yes.
want to stay alive and free.
I mean, yes. I believe everyone can catch the subtext of what you were saying in those words.
So
But
I was coming up through those types of like wolf packs, and you run through a few of them. You know what I mean? Like they're not just one. You just keep growing. And then I found myself at the apex of life, being
okay,
alone.
we're gonna go through your life with a little more detail. Maybe not all the details, but yeah, it's tangential. It flies around. That's what we do. But really, let's run it back to you, a white boy in
Okay.
the hood, and the Humpty dances around. Your mom likes a bunch of classic jams, and you're like, I think I need to be a rapper so I don't get my ass kicked anymore. That's what I understood. That's as far as we got in your life story, as far
That
as
is
I'm
a
concerned.
fucking fabulous summation of what I just said. People can't understand me, bro. I am.
You're not that hard to follow. We've listened. I mean, because here's the trick to it. If anybody's ever talking to a guy like Mike or myself, let's be honest, um, you gotta just understand that there's the relevant details and then the shit you're saying to figure out the relevant details. So you just drop the shit in the middle when you're composing like the relevant parts of your story, right? Everything else is nice, it's context, it's conversation, but really for your story, that's all that got said. That it was like, write those parts down, and that's it.
Okay. We'll 10-4. I tell you what. So we'll pick up at the Humpty Dance.
That's
So
exactly it.
in the trailer parks, right? There used to be like vans that would pull through, and they would scoop up all the kids, right? And they would
These are
take us
good
out.
bands, right?
Hold on. Let me explain, right? This is how I really kind of melded into this type of little wolf pack, right? So imagine little Vice, 10 years old, getting scooped up into random vans, right? And what they would do is they would go to the 99-cent store and grab a bunch of bullshit, right? And take us to the rich neighborhoods, and they would tell all of the rich people, hey, we're poor. We want to be kept off drugs. This is for the Boys and Girls Program. They give you a little sheet of bullshit to tell them, and you sell them the 99-cent shit for $5, right?
Stop.
And
For
and then
real?
and then you get $1 of everything you sell, and they get kicked back the other four, of which they pay one and pocket three, ferrying a bunch of kids from the trailer parks out to the rich neighborhoods. And in that process, the radio was popping. You know what I mean? And I started doing like what really kind of sparked rap for me, like as thinking that I could be a rapper, right? You have to have that first thought is that I want to be a rapper or I can be a rapper, right? And it was me singing along with the Humpty Dance is your chance, do the hop, Humpty Hop. Say, stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. As soon as I realized I could say that shit, I said I could say my own shit. And I started on a perpetuous journey to be the dopest white MC ever out of the hood. And yeah, I haven't gotten there. But at the end of the day, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So
I am all for setting goals, bro. There is nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can to this day, you're not dead. It's still attainable.
hey, look, this is the thing, right? I started digging into the Rick Rubin guy. You know Rick Rubin, right?
Yes, sir.
He said this
He has a
thing,
mighty
right? It
fine
really,
beard too.
yeah. It really stuck with me what he said, because he was kind of like, I saw his life story, his origin story kind of come down, right? I'm like, man, I can relate, right? But this dude happened to be in the middle of everything. And I'm like, fuck. Anyway, so he runs this retreat out in Cali right now. And, basically artists go there to get that Rick Rubin vibe, to get that. He's a reductionist, right? What you remove is what refines the end, what you're going to contribute to the society. You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, I saw a section of an interview he was doing, and he said, like, my greatest aspiration, right? The thing that he is aspiring to do is to produce somebody without ever meeting them. You see what I'm saying? So it's take the philosophy of Rick Rubin and apply that to your artistry without his involvement at all. And I kind of absorbed that, and I say, you know
So are you
what?
saying that, in a sense, Rick Rubin shadow produced you?
I'm saying that I would love for him to be like, yeah, Vice. I appreciate what you're doing, and I got my vibe on that. And I think it's contextual, like everything that you contribute to the vibe, because that's what everybody does. Now, some people get monetized for that, and some people don't. And you have to be okay with not getting monetized for it in order to have a sincerely pure passion for the craft that you're endeavoring to perfect. Because at the end of the day, I do this, like, I've wired my brain from a youngster that it is essentially, if you put it in computer terms, I'm essentially all RAM, no hard drive. Right? I have a massive amount of capacity to process information immediately. And that I also attribute to my ADD, my hyperactivity, my attention deficit. And I find myself most comfortable with my life in my hands behind a wheel, because I'm able to really occupy the core function of me, keeping me alive on the road. And then that higher brain function operates clearly. And that's why I really enjoy driving around doing what I do. You know what I mean? That another tangential trail.
That's
But
what the
yeah.
show is. That's why, like, people like you are, like, much easier to talk to on this than, say, people who, no offense if you're one of these folk, but sometimes I'll do a 90-second fucking build up to a question. I'll add like a story in, I'll do like this, a little thing. I'll
Right.
fucking like whatever. It'll land, and man's will drop like an 8-word answer and stop. And I'm gonna be like, fuck, that was 8 words. I mean, it was very concise, but damn, I don't know how to, like, now I have to talk again. So, and you can just go off like that. I mean, it's totally cool. And it gives little snippets to it. And anybody that knows you knows that this is what a mic device experience is. And if you don't know a mic device, this is what a mic device experience is.
Sign up for it, baby. Sign up
I know
for it.
that Chris Chrome knows all about being on the phone with Mike Device watching this play out. He'll be like in the fucking
Hey,
car
Chris-
doing
Chris
a
Chrome was-
job, fucking
Chris-
freestyling on the Zoom. He'll be
Look,
like, "The
look,
fuck
Chris
is this
Chris
guy?"
Combs was on the phone with me, Brad, and a dude pulled a pistol out on me when I walked up on his property. He
pulled.
had the gun out on me, and Crow was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Hey, bro, don't shoot me. I got to go around the back." You know what I mean?
It is the Mike Device experience. I like that. But yeah, so basically, you're back in the Humpty days, and you learn how to rap, or decided the
Well,
spark
I
and the
taught myself
desire of
how to
your
rap.
etherealness was invoked because you could rap the Humpty dance while going to do some really sketchy shit when people were acting in predatory ways, all things considered.
All things considered, bad. That's the PBS version. All right. So, but anyway, from that point in time, because I used to do anything to hustle, bruh. I would, you know what I mean? I would do yard work, whatever the fuck, bruh. I've always been about getting that bread. But I've also hated money and the fact that it's such a necessity, and when nobody teaches you how to get it, and you got to go and figure it out on your own through trial and fucking error, and sit down in the process and all types of shit to try and get to a point where you got a grasp on how to
Yeah,
live
but
right.
even beyond that, the first exposure you have to money is go to the Dollarama. That's what we call our dollar store. Uh, and then go to the rich part of town and flip that shit on susceptible people, exploiting them via this thing about yourself that puts you at a deficiency.
Right.
That's a wild start to fucking economics in your life.
Shit, you should have saw how I left Texas. I left Texas in 30 seconds, bro. I had to jam, right? Some shit went down. I had to go. And I was looking, and back in the day, bro, you had to look in the fucking newspaper and the classifieds to figure anything out, bro. You could always hustle in the classifieds. And I was always about that. So I'm in the
What do you mean
classifieds, right?
hustle in the classified? Like you
You
would
you sell shit in the class, like, so there's all kinds of little bullshit schemes like, hey, I got this magic rock, you buy this magic rock from me, you send me 9.95, and I will COD this package to you with this magic rock that's going to change your life in the classifieds. Oh, you want a life change? You know what I mean? Under weird random shit. That's just always a way that you could hustle. But the thing is I caught this ad. It said, "Sun, fun, and travel. No experience necessary," right?
oh boy.
And I call the ad. And the ad is like, the dude on the ad is like, "Okay, yeah, you wanna interview? Come through." And I'm like, okay. So he's like, "Come to the Holiday Inn. We're at the Holiday Inn. Come do the interview at the Holiday Inn." I'm like, okay, fuck. All right, Holiday Inn. So, and at that time, bro, I was hustling, I was selling bags, right? And I had like a half a pound, I had 2/4 pounds in my waistline whenever I went into the interview. You know what I mean? And I just
You
I
know that's like sitcoms nowadays and shit. Like I think Suits starts off like that. Like or one of these shows starts off where the man walks into the interview with a bag, and then
no,
it's
it's
still
like,
out. That's
so look,
wild.
I'm in the interview with these fuckers, right? And they're like, "We're from California. We sell magazines. We go door to door and blah, 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 blah." And I've always been about that life, bro. So I was like, fuck, sign me up. I'll sell whatever bullshit you want to sell. Let's do it. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, good." And they asked me, "Hey, do you smoke weed?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I smoke weed." I said, "I got the best weed you can buy in this town with me right now." Whoa. So I whipped it out and I put the half pound on the table. And these motherfuckers looked at me like I was a joke. They were like, "Ha ha ha, that's not weed." And I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean that's not weed? You don't see the red hair in there? That shit is fire." And what I used to get was the brick. The straight up Mexican brick, bro. You'd have
No,
to
I don't know
fucking
the straight up Mexican brick because I'm
you,
up in Quebec, bro.
oh, wait.
We have
Okay,
good
so
fucking plants, and we had weed that up until
no.
legalization, our weed competed with Cali in Vancouver.
So not no down south, bro. And to this day, it's mostly trash ass weed. Have you ever heard of stress?
No, what is stress?
Okay, so you have chronic and then you have stress. Chronic is like the designer, and the fucking stress is like the less than mediocre. The fucking outdoors
The
that they
Reggie?
packed the super Reggie Bush.
Alright.
Okay, so
I
and
think
I'm
we
talking
call that
about
shit outdoor up here.
No. It's not even outdoor. This is shit. Look, this is how they do it. They plant big ass fields in Mexico of the bullshit, right? They grow it. They don't even trim it. They just cut it down, bro. They might finger trim off a little bit. They just cut it down and put it into a compactor and squish the fuck out of it. And it cures on the fucking way. So they turn it into little bricks and they pack it the fuck up and they send it out. By the time it gets to you, it cured in the fucking travel. And so it's a thick ass fucking brick, and you have to break the fucking brick, get the little stress up, right? And then fluff it up. Usually I use a tortilla, throw a fucking flour tortilla in there, let it sit for a couple days. It would come back. I bring it back. It's like bringing it back. But
Okay, how does the flour tortilla bring the Mexican brick back to life?
moisture.
Okay.
So
Because it absorbs the moisture from the bread shit.
yes, and it reinvigorates the bag. Some people would use lemon peel, orange peel, whatever they want the funk, the flavor of the bullshit weed we were smoking. Okay, because this was total bullshit weed, but I've never had access to any bomb ass weed before. We would just take the bullshit weed and put embalming fluid on it and sell it as a fry stick. That's what we would do, and everybody was drinking that promethazine. That shit was terrible. I never really fucked with it, bruh. But everybody around me was on that fucking lean. You know what I mean? On that boat.
I mean, I know what you mean because I'm aware of what lean and promethazine are now, but nah, I've never been in environments where most people were on lean. In fact, the only time I ever fucking even did that was by accident. We had the cough syrup with codeine, and it said teaspoons, and I used tablespoons. And boy, oh boy, it's one of the first 10 episodes of Headspace podcast on my channel, and I'm faded on lean. The whole fucking thing. Like, I'm just gone. And I was like, you know what? Halfway through this, I'm going to do a little more. And then I never
When I was
did
a
it
kid,
again
they
one
used to
time in
call
my
it
life.
water. They used to call it water, right?
Shit.
But that was basically embalming fluid, which is essentially, if I'm not mistaken, PCP.
Yo, PCP is a wild drug, man. I mean, when you
But
like,
a fry stick, bro, if you smoke, that's how we would spice up
That's
the
the-
fucking trash meat.
okay, so the embalming fluid is basically the PCP. So that's like the juices and shit that they would smoke, where they would put the PCP or whatever in it. Like the
Yeah!
shit like
It was
Method
coming at
Man
you.
was fucking smoking when he did Tikal. Nah, for real.
Nice.
Yeah, so you showed those guys the Mexican brick. That's a good point. That is a great
It-
point. Zalmanel is saying, okay, you guys are tangenting too hard. I need to know what the fuck happens after these guys. So his comment is, so he showed those guys the
Okay.
Mexican brick,
Okay.
and then they laughed, and they said, that's not weed. And then what happened?
Okay. And so they hired me, right? So so I got the job with the magazine fucks whenever I had to make an escape. Okay. So I went back to the pad. I stuffed a duffel bag full of shit. I grabbed 2 more pounds of weed, and I was like, because I ended up selling them a fucking 50 sack. You know what I mean? And I used to sell a zip for 50, right? That's the 50 bag. A quarter is a half a zip. You feel me? It was kind of
Okay, let me
different math
translate
back.
that. No, I mean, it's the same math. So a zip, also known as an ounce, was going for 50 American dollars, which we'll call it 70 up here or some shit like that, maybe 65. I don't know.
Of trash ass weed. And they were
then
mad to pay me the
your
$50.
quarter is 4 fucking ounces, so that the people know. Or are you talking like a quarter ounce or a quarter pound? Because you said you had pounds on you.
Yeah. So I had a half pound on me.
Half pound.
But I grabbed 2 more pounds before I left. But I sold them a zip for 50. And we used to use a hanging scale back in the day. I just put it in a fucking a little sandwich bag and hung it on the end of the scale and got it up. You know what I mean? I used to hit them
So-
with that
so-
fucking 14 for 25.
We have
I
good
would
questions
show you-
coming in. So they have never seen a Mexican brick before, or they knew that this was a Mexican brick and thus was bad weed? I'm also curious at this point because you had left.
No,
it-
they're spoiled ass Californians that had the best fucking weed in the country.
Did they
and they
come and
came
be
to the-
like, "Here's some fucking boom weed, throw it in your face, smoke this, and shut the fuck up"?
No, they didn't have any weed. And I was selling them weed that I thought was bomb, but they thought was trash, and I didn't even know it was trash. I was defending it like the best weed on earth.
Yeah, to be
Motherfucker,
fair,
I have the best weed in Texas right here, this red hair fire weed, right? And they laughing at me like I'm a rube. And I get it. After I got to California and smoked some real weed, I was like, fuck, man. I had some trash ass weed. Um, so yeah, that was kind of the
so they got you to
fucking
California, right? On the door-to-door sales pitch, and you sold them weed in the middle of this job interview, like straight out some fucking movie.
in Texas. Yeah.
You know,
Trying to get the
hold
fuck out.
on. In a fucking hotel room.
Yeah, in the Holiday Inn. Hey, but check this out. So I get with the magazine fucks, right? And they offering me the immediate escape. I leave Texas in 30 seconds and don't say shit to nobody. I'm just gone. I barely said bye to my mom. I swung by her crib. I was like, yo, I gotta
How
go.
old are you at this point?
18.
Okay, so you're 18.
I just got out of jail. No, I was almost 19. I just got out of jail, trying to get back on my feet. I'm on the grind. Shit went left from me. And so I had to go. And at that point in time, this was my ticket out. So I swung by, chunked my mama deuce. I loved it. We got a turbulent relationship, but we're better now. But chunked her a deuce. And because I've essentially been on my own since I was about 13 years old, bro. I left the house at like 13. I got asked to leave. You know what I mean? So I had to go, and I've just been out in the streets ever since. So by this time, I'm a seasoned vet out in the streets. So I catch this interview for what I think is a brand new life, and I got all the bag. So I'm on there, and all these cats are from California, and I'm selling them shitty ass weed because they don't know anybody else to get it from. You feel me? And so I'm rolling with it, right? And so I left and
You know, how many people go to a job interview and walk out with cash?
I never thought about it that way. That sounds cool though. I like it. Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to be ready to get the money whenever you're ready to get the money. You know what I mean? You got to be available. That's me. I'm always available. So I catch out with them, and what it is that you stay in a hotel. They rent out hella hotel rooms, right? And you roll around with a bunch of motherfuckers, and they drop you off in little suburbs. You know what I mean? And you get out at the front of the suburb, and you look at this is how they train you to do this shit, right? You look at the fucking street sign in the front, and then you walk to the back of the neighborhood, and you go, hey man, I'm Whoop-Dee so-and-so. I'm from the street in the front of the neighborhood. Look, we're doing this thing to whatever. And you tell them, hey, we got points to go on this trip or whatever. Can you buy some magazines from me so that we can go on this trip? And so you're straight up lying to these people. And you're selling them fucking scripts like you're from the neighborhood and shit. And then they go, well, wait, isn't your mom the one that walks that Cocker Spaniel? No, my mom's they're like, hey, I've seen your mom around. Who's your mom? I said, my mom's the one that walks that Cocker Spaniel around. Hey, there's always somebody. Hey, do you walk that fucking... There's always somebody to walk.
It's like the first person tells you what to tell the next people.
Bam. And you learn the neighborhood as you go around begging people to buy these fucking shitty magazine subscriptions, right? And I kind of sucked at it because I didn't like lying to people. So I was really bad at it, but I sell them weed. So y'all go lie to people and you come back, and at night I make my money from what they get. You feel me? I didn't really make too many magazine sales.
So you would sell weed to all the magazine sellers.
Yeah, and just rode along. But they hated me because the weed was trash. And they all knew it was trash, but I thought it was great. And and look, I've always been, I wouldn't say a bully, but I've been loud and obnoxious, right? And some people feel some type of way about me, but they won't fucking say it to my face. There'll be little bitches in the background. And I never paid too much mind to that shit, right? But all the hater talk that goes on around real motherfuckers, they know. So at the end of the day, I'm on this crew that hates me, but they need me, right? I've always been able to make myself valuable. You know what I mean? And so I travel with these fucks up into Fort Worth. And by the time we get to Fort Worth, I got like about a quarter pound of weed left, right? And I always take my weed with me out on the territory because I don't trust those fucks at the hotel room. Like they run up and rob your shit when you're not there. You know what I'm saying? So, but they'll never try you in your face. So anyway, I get dropped off at the beginning of this suburb at this gas station, and I start walking into the suburb, and I see a lawman coming up, and I get freaked out. They're way down the street, but they're driving up, and I get freaked out. I'm like, oh man, like he's gonna smell the weed from there or something. I don't know, Brad. I was tripping. I was still
Especially
fucking
because
crazy.
you thought it was like it probably didn't smell that dank, right?
So look, I turned around and I started walking back to that gas station. And then I go up in the gas station and I take it out and I put it into the tank of the toilet. And then I come back out, right? And I'm thinking I'm cool and shit. Um, and whenever I catch the fucking corner, right? Because they saw me get dropped off from the van. They were far enough away. They saw me get dropped off in the van, and I started walking in. And then I saw them turn around and walk to the gas station. Suspect as hell. So they get me, right? And they're like, well, what are you doing? They start questioning me. I'm like, look, dude, I'm just a fucking sales guy, whatever the fuck, right? And they go, no. And they go up in the fucking, the gas station, and they're like, hey, where did that guy go? They came in here. They go into the fucking bathroom. They find the weed in the tank. They come back out. They get me, cuff me up, throw me in the back of the car, right? And then they go and fucking pull over the van that's, heading to the other side of the neighborhood. They pull them over. Everybody gets arrested, right? But the magazine people come and get all of those other fuckers out, and because they said it was my weed, everybody pointed at me and told on me. It was like, nah, that's the what do you want, da, right? Hater talk. You feel me? They kept my ass. They wouldn't bail me out, and they left me in. I had to do 3 months. Yeah, I did 3 months in Tarrant County for that shit. So I had to sit down in Tarrant County for 3 months. Now, peep this. This is how I made it to Cali. I'll give you the long and short of it real quick. So anyway, I get out of that in the fucking I get out of Tarrant County 3 weeks later. They're already gone. They're in Alabama. You feel me? And this is pre-cell phone. Well, it's kind of like the beginning of the cell phone era. You know what I mean? But I'm calling them. And I'm telling them, hey, yo, don't leave me in fucking Fort Worth. I got out of jail. I did my fucking time. That means, bring me back. You feel me? You can't leave me here. So they say, okay, we're going to send you a bus ticket to go to Bessemer, Alabama. I'm like, okay, but I can't leave for 2 days. So, and I'm like fresh out of jail, don't got nothing. So 2 days in Fort Worth, bro, sleeping outside. I rode the bus all the way to the end of the line into Lancaster. I got out in Lancaster. I'm fucking around. And it's kind of weird up north in Dallas. It was like all the fiends were on the block, and the D-boys would come through and serve them and bounce out. And it's kind of different. Like in Houston, where I was from, you know what I mean? Basically, the D-boys own the block, and they be out to the fiends and come get what they want and get the fuck on. But up there was like zombies run the block, and the D-boys would just come and anyway, so I'm out there with all the zombies, and I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do? I'm just talking to people, got in a fucking bullshit conversation with somebody, went left. Next thing I know, I'm trying to get away. They licking shots at me. I'm dipping. Motherfuckers almost got me that time. I slept, dude, that was the coldest I've ever been in my life. I slept beside this building one night, bruh, and I didn't have no jacket or nothing, man. It had to be like 30 degrees or something. It's hella like, it's hella like, not cold like y'all get cold, but cold for a Texas boy. You feel me? I'm shivering as fuck, right? Anyway, so I ride the fucking gray dog out to Bessemer, Alabama, and I catch up with these fuckers. I think I get out at the bus stop, and these motherfuckers are gone already. They're going to Atlanta, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? I just got to Bessemer, so I'm in Bessemer for a fucking night. And they send me a continuation ticket to Atlanta. So I'm like, okay. So I ride from Bessemer, Alabama to Atlanta. So I finally meet them up in Atlanta, right? And I'm with the magazine crew this time. But now I have to sell the fucking bullshit magazines. And all these motherfuckers hate me. And I got them arrested one night. And I got no weed.
That is not a good
So
place to be in.
yeah. So that was about 3 months of fucking with them. And, what I started doing is because I was more industrious than the rest of these fucks because they didn't have no balls. They were a bunch of bitch ass pussies. Anyway, while I'm out on territory, I'm looking for weed. I'm looking for whoever's got a zip, got a quap, whatever. I'm trying to get it so I can get back in business. You know what I mean? That was I like being on the top of the fucking pyramid, but I just wasn't. So, yeah, man. So anyway, I kept coming up on little weed come ups out in the hood because they would drop me off in the hood, bro. And they were like, oh, fuck, you go, blah, 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 sell magazines. Nobody wants to buy that shit in the hood. So I didn't really sell shit. So they were already mad at me because they're providing food and lodging, and you get a little check. You know what I mean? Off whatever you sell. And I wasn't really selling shit. But I always hustle. So it comes a time where shit is going left with everybody. Some shit ended up missing. Motherfucking words was exchanged, and I had tapped somebody up, and it was it was like one of the head dude's friends, like good friends, because he stole from me, bruh. So I tapped him on his head a little bit, and they didn't like that shit, and it was all in all like the whole deal was when I left. They said, okay, if you ever want to leave at any time, just let us know. We'll give you a bus ticket back to Texas. You feel me? And when all this went left, we were in Norcross, Georgia, right? And they were like, I was like demanding a ticket back to Texas. Y'all are going to send me home. You going to pay for a ticket for me to go back home, blah, blah, blah. And this is really a life lesson in be who you can afford to be. Because I was nothing but a money loss to these motherfuckers and a troublemaker. So I had no standing at all. Anyway, so he tells his bitch to take me down to the bus stop and get me a ticket back to Texas. But in reality, what they were doing was they were ditching me at the fucking bus station. So I made the bitch get out and take me to the fucking counter and show me the ticket. Because she said, get out, go to the counter. Your ticket is there. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, you're not leaving. You're walking with me to that fucking counter and you're going to show me the fucking ticket. So I grab my shit. I frog march her ass into the counter, right? And we're waiting in line. When we're the next people to go to the counter, she starts screaming, help! Help! At the fucking bus station, bro. And I'm like, what, bitch? Help! And she starts running, bro. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I drop my bag and I take off after her, bro. And she bolts out of the bus station and makes it to the car. And I get the security kind of like, what's going on? I said, that bitch is trying to ditch me at the fucking bus station. And I burn off. I push past them and burn out there, bro. She skirted off. Took off. Left with nothing at the bus station. Because motherfuckers stole all of my shit, all my money, everything out of the room. So I tapped somebody up. They fucking give me the whole rundown and trying to like boot me out at the fucking bus station, bro. With nothing, knowing nobody in a brand new city, bro. You feel me? So What do? I go back in, I grab my shit, right? And I'm like, holy
You're in
fuck,
Georgia, right?
Georgia. I'm in Atlanta at this point.
Okay. So
So,
this is like
yeah,
you've gone from Texas and you've moved towards California on this journey.
no, I went to the East Coast. That was total
Oh, dude, you
opposite
got to know
direction.
how bad my U.S. geography is. So you're saying that you went easter?
Yeah, I went to the East Coast. Georgia's directly opposite of California as far as coast to coast.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So I'm in Georgia, Atlanta, right? And I enjoyed Atlanta while I was there. Well, so anyway, I'm at the bus station. I got ditched at the bus station. The bitch gave me the slip, and I'm there with all everything I own in life with fucking nothing at all, bro. And so I drag my duffel and I go across the street and I just drop my shit and I park it on. There's like a fucking set of rocks across the street, you know, motherfucker just sat on the rock, bro. And I'm just like, oh fuck. And when I did, there was two dudes in blue like windbreaker jackets sitting on some other rocks across the street. And they looked at me and I'm still hot, bro. I'm like so hot. I just don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. It's like pivotal point in my life. I have no idea how I'm gonna get the fuck out of this situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the dude goes, "Hey, what happened? We saw that bitch ditch you. What the fuck?" And so I gave him the story, right? And I spit it like in bars. You know what I mean? And they really enjoyed that shit. That we kind of vibed. We had a moment, right? And they get to telling me this story about how they just came from Detroit, and the company that they worked for was had bust them out from Detroit to do this deregulation of the gas shit out there in Georgia and up the East Coast, right? They were with Energy America, right? And it's supposed to be this cushy, same kind of gig I was just on. Live at the hotel, go out to territory, except instead of selling shitty magazines, you were giving people an option to pay 10% less on their gas bill. Hey, just put your name here, sign here. You pay 10% less from this different company that they have to use the same pipe. The same gas you get right now, just a different company is allowed to sell it to you. So there's competition and it's not a monopoly. That's how it works in America. America. Pew, pew.
That's bro. Everything about America is a monopoly. Go look at how like 600 companies like run the world.
Hey, but there's six, not one. That's a monopoly.
It's effectively a monopoly in every field.
I understand. No, it's a consortium, but I get it. Look,
It's effectively a monopoly, even if it's not technically a monopoly.
that is how they live on the edges. But fuck them. We'll get there later. Look, so at the
No, but
bus
I
station,
appreciate what you're saying. You're being given the opportunity to give people a more legitimate product in bullshit magazines they don't want.
right? So I thought, fuck yeah, I could do this door to door. Because as a younger kid, bro, I used to sell Kirby vacuum cleaners door to door as a hustle. You know what I mean? But anyway,
It's a real thing, eh?
yeah, we're gonna get back to the story at hand. Now, what had happened was they called their people at corporate, right? Because they got left at the bus station. So they weren't going to be able to get picked up until Monday. And this was Friday. You feel me? I got so fucked on that Friday. But I got blessed at the same time because I happened to run into these motherfuckers that dug my story and my vibe. And they talked to their headquarters and they were like, look, we got one more guy with us. He needs a job too. And I was like, they was like, okay, woo. So they got me a job, sight unseen, with a hotel room and everything in the same place that I got ditched. It couldn't have worked out any better than that. It was already designed for me. And so I got with them, but it turned out, so when we went out there, right, because the two dudes were black, right? And they went to an all black crew that worked exclusively the hood because nobody else wanted to go around in the hood. All kinds of hoods. And we're talking East Coast hoods, like Seat Pleasant, District Heights, like all the way up and down the, you know what I mean? Decatur, Norcross, all of these, Bankhead. I'm just saying,
Okay,
man.
so a bunch of hoods on the East Coast. Because I'm like, I
Right.
haven't heard of any of these hoods.
And I end
but
up in an
assume-
all black van crew. I'm like the only white dude in an all black van crew out in the hoods on the East Coast deregulating the gas. And so this last, I was with him like 4 or 6 months. We made it all the way from Georgia, right? Once we were homeless, that's another story for another time. That weekend being homeless and broke in Atlanta, that was fun. With the two guys I just met, it was a team building experience. Anyway, so I end up on the van
Now
crew.
I gotta know, like, what? What did you do?
Oh, bruh, that was my first time ever going to a homeless shelter, right? So that night, we were just out, like we all had like 10, 20 bucks on us. We didn't have
I'm
really
with you.
shit
Hold
for
on.
money.
Your life is a movie, dude. Keep going. This is a fucking wild movie. When you said you don't know what's going on in my life, and when you're singing that in your songs, no, nobody had any idea that it was gonna go like this. This is wild.
Bruh, look, check this. So, well, anyway, long story short, that weekend we were scrounging,
Okay,
begging.
Okay.
End up at you got to go to the shelter. It's like the fire and something, fire and whatever mission. I was at a fire mission, bro. I want to say brimstone, but I don't think that's right. I was at a mission that had fire in the title or whatever. And before every meal, you had to listen to the sermon to get the meal. So we go to church, we sit in there, we get the meal, then we were out. We went all over the underground. We were just begging, like, hey, man, got some money. We broke. Can we eat? And I was rapping. I was like, hey, you want to hear some fucking freestyle? Check this shit out, right? Because I'm doing this. I've been consistently freestyling all the time to anybody that would listen since I was like 9. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that in itself, my mom hated it. She told me shut the fuck up all the time. She thought that freestyling was a phase. And I mean, I'm 40 something right now, ain't gonna tell on me. And it didn't seem to be a fucking phase, bro. So I didn't grow out of it. It seemed to have formulated the core of my being. So this is what I do for fucking, because I'm always like, look, I never pressed to come out and because I realized early on, like, if you ain't got fuck all to talk about, what the fuck are you saying? Because I hate music that has no meaning. If it doesn't have a meaning, I hate it. I don't want to hear mumble raps. I don't want to hear just schlumpy bullshit. I don't want to hear fucking that's not music to me. If it doesn't have a meaning or
for
purpose,
the screaming shit. I'm gonna throw it out there.
No, I'm not. I don't like that shit. If I can't decipher it, and I got a pretty good ear, and if I can't figure out what the fuck you're saying, you got problems. You got serious problems. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so I burn up through fucking that weekend with these guys underground, fucking around, man, running into all types of shit. Anyway, so we show up for the first day, man, and I get into this groove, going to all the hoods on the East Coast, trying to deregulate the gas in my blue. It looked like a Fed uniform, bro. It was a fucking blue windbreaker. You feel me? So you're walking around the hood in a fucking blue windbreaker, and I'm the only white dude that motherfuckers have probably seen all fucking year. And I'm coming up to your door going, nobody wants to hear that shit. They look out and see the dude in the fucking blue windbreaker at the white dude in the blue windbreaker is never a good sign. It's never a good fucking sign. So it was a serious challenge to overcome, right? Anyway, so I ended up with them all the way up to like DC. We went through Maryland, Baltimore, all of that, right? And I ended up in the Washington, DC area. And at this point in time, I've been successfully finding little hookups for Herb because I'm still doing the same thing. I'm gonna hustle and hustle, always hustle and hustle, always. So I'm the only guy that has enough charisma to get these motherfuckers to get the fucking. They don't. You know what I mean? They're like, nah, man, we're not fucking with these guys. We don't know them. Blah blah blah. And I've never been. I guess I've never been nervous to go up and talk to people. I don't give a fuck who you are. I always thought I was the Billy Badass. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm the baddest motherfucker standing in this circle. So I don't give a fuck, right? Until I got shown a couple of times I was not. And it made me rethink that approach. Like the Billy Badass approach, but it's not exactly, but I still got the double dragon gloves. But you know what I mean? Anyway, we're going to transition back to where I get dumped by the Energy America fucks, bro, up in the East Coast. Now, it's getting to be the winter, right? And I started seeing snow and shit. I'm not used to this shit. I'm a Southern boy. I never saw snow in my fucking life, bro. And I hate the cold. I don't like the cold. Anyway, so we're at this we're at this we're at this fucking Indian hotel out in like Maryland. Yeah, right around DC, right? And I roll up on so the boys are like, hey, because we ran out of weed. We ain't had weed for probably a week, 2 weeks. Shit is getting testy, right? And they're like, we saw these dudes smoking a blunt and they went into this room, right? When I got back from territory. And I was like, okay. I said, y'all didn't say nothing? Well, nah. We didn't say nothing. They look crazy. I was like, the fuck? So I go over and knock on the fucking door. And they peep out the little blinds, bro. They're like, who the fuck are you? I'm like, hey, I'm Mike Device, bro. It looks at me. Who the fuck is Mike Device? I said, look, man. And I made the universal sign for some tree. I'm like, mwah, I touched the lips. Mwah. He's like, what? I said, look, man, I'm just from Texas, bro. I'm trying to make it. I got some bread, blah, blah, blah. He said, get the fuck away from my door with that shit, man. What the fuck's wrong with you? And he cussed me out. And so I went to the room, right? And I called his room from my room. This is the dude that was just outside your shit, right? Look, I'm sorry about that, man. You know, and I started explaining my situation. And I'm like, look, man, I'm just trying to make it, bro. You know what I mean? Just look out for me, man. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, you want some? Okay, man. All right, man, I'm going to sell you some weed. And I wait up all that night, bro. I'm staying up hella late waiting for this dude to come through. He never comes through. I fall asleep, right? 6:30 in the fucking morning, bro. This motherfucker's beating on the door. And I open, he's like, you still want the fucking weed? I was like, yeah. You know, okay, it's going to be $70 for the zip. I was like, all right. I peeled him his bread. I got the zip. I was like, look, man, I'm going to get back with you. Are y'all going to be there? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah. I said, okay. So I ended up going out to territory that day, right? And when I get out territory, I split the zip up and everybody bought it the fuck up. I didn't even get to smoke a joint. You feel me? They're so thirsty for this shit. Anyway, and this was trash ass East Coast weed, bro. Terrible. It was worse than Texas weed. But I digress. Anyway, so I get this fucking I get this bag divvied up between all these motherfuckers, and I'm trying to call that room. It's not answering. He's not answering. And then I finally get him that evening, and I'm like, look, and he's like, Short, what up, Short? That's how they talk out there. They like, you know, they call the police to 12, right? So and they're like, well, at that time it was like Shorty. You know, that was some heavy shit. Anyway, so he's talking to me and he's like, what's up? I said, look, man, let me get another one. I'm gonna come through right now, baby. He's like, nah, come through later. like about, he tells me when they come through. I'm like, all right. So I'm waiting. I come through. I knock on the door. Right. I walk in there, bro. There's like 13 motherfuckers in this fucking little bitty ass hotel room wrapped around the fucking room, and they're all standing there like this shit right here, quiet as fuck, like serious. You could hear a fucking pin drop, and I'm walking in like, whoa. Like the fucking energy was definitely on some fuck you, we're about to kill your ass shit. You know what I mean? And anyway, and you gotta know, bruh, when you in a room full of motherfuckers, ain't none of them got a smile on their face, and there's only one motherfucker talking, you better know that's a bad situation. So this motherfucker starts questioning me about who I am, where I'm from. Bet I'm the police. See the windbreaker. Look at me like, what do you want? This I had a button down. You feel me? And he tell me you probably Aryan Brotherhood. You probably whoop-de-wop. All this shit, right? And I'm taking the whole rundown from dude. I'm sizing him up. Cause I'm like, look, I could probably get him first. And that's what, I'm gonna go for it. Because if you're gonna look, if you want it with me, I'm gonna give you all I got before I go. Trust me. Anyway, so I'm sizing dude up, and I'm just getting more mad because he keep talking fucking bad to me, and like I'm just some bitch ass motherfucker, right? And I was like, he kind of had a pause in the fucking way. I tore my button off, and I got tats on my, I got tats all here. This all tatted up. I said, where the fuck you gonna put that AB tat? So that dude kind of had this look on his face like what the fuck, right? And one of the dudes in the back, he goes, can you rap? I go, can I rap? And I start breaking it off in him, bro. Just like, y'all, I give him the whole business. And the dude goes, so what you say your name was again? I said, man, I'm Mike Device. He said, hey, he come here, put his arm around me. He's looking at everybody else. He goes, hey, this Mike Device, short rhyme with me. Anybody fuck with him, they gonna get it from me. Hey, short, you gonna be my new artist, right? Bro.
I have like an idea of what happens next, so I'm aware a little bit, but you gotta tell the people this part of the story. This is like, bro, it only gets more insane as mail.
Okay, so at this point in time, I'm pretty discontent with the energy America fucks, and I really was like on some, fuck them shit too. So I was going to sneak out in the night. It was kind of like a partial kidnapping, partial voluntary thing at first, It was a little sketch, kind of just getting absorbed into the fucking streets out there. But anyway, after that night, that dude never let me out of his sight. I stayed with him all the time at the hotel room. We went everywhere together for about 2 weeks. He had the thing, he said, this is Flawless Records, right? And you gonna be my new artist on Flawless Records. But really what I was one of those fucking dancing monkeys. You know what I mean? He'd just take me out to all the hoods, crank me up and be like, rap about that building, rap about that fucking street sign, rap about that bitch over there. And if I'm telling you, bro, like motherfuckers, they was looking at me like it was a pretty wild situation. And I kind of it got a little sketch to the point where like one night towards the end, because they were taking me everywhere, man. They got it on the East Coast. They had, whenever I was out there, they had like undercover strip clubs. They had like liquor stores in the front, and then you bounce into the back of the liquor store, and it's a strip club that don't nobody, it's like an underground deal. I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? Like we just have big ass like multiplex strip clubs in Texas. Like how big can the sign be on the highway? You know what I mean? But anyway, so out there uh they used to have these bulletproof chicken wing joints, right? And it's like these motherfuckers that sell you chicken wings in the middle of the night, and they got no tables, no chairs in the whole little spot inside, and it's bulletproof glass over that motherfucker. Your wings come out of a box. You feel me? So I get out one night towards the end of this whole like fucking Jack in the Box deal, and I'm out there and we getting some wings and shit. I walk outside here. Where you from? And I turn, by the time I'm gonna say something to motherfuckers, they licking off shots at me, bro. So I dip and dive down behind the car, and this motherfucker bolts out of the chicken shop, bro. It just starts wah wah wah, letting it off. And I'm like, what? We in the car, we making a getaway. At that point in time, I'm like, yo, I can't get a fucking pistol. I can't, you know what I mean? Everybody else got fucking pistols. I got shit. I'm getting shots licked at me again. And so I end up catching out of that situation back at the hotel room, packed my shit up, and I just kind of snuck off in the middle of the night, dog, and made my little escape. So I headed back to the fucking Grey Dog. And because it was so fucking cold, I was like, I can't handle this fucking winter bullshit on the East Coast, bruh. I had a boy of mine that I met back in Texas that, that situation where everybody was going every which way. One of my dudes was from California. That kind of came up my first kind of real producer DJ. I mean, he had a Casio and we were doing it on fucking tapes. You know what I mean? Real tapes, like the recorders from the library, the old square ones. We was recording a little freestyle tapes on that shit. But anyway, so he ends up going back to fucking Cali. And at that point in time, I'm like, damn, this shit is fucking like crazy. I gotta get the fuck out of here. I call him up from the payphone. I'm like, bro, let me just sleep on your couch, man. I will get a job, bro. I will get my own shit. Just give me a jump off point. Give me a starting point. And he's like, okay, all right, man. Just come on out, bro. You can sleep on the couch, but not more than a month. I was like, all right, man. All right, bro. I thank you, thank you, thank you. So I spent like the last little bit of money on the ticket to get from there to Cali. And I basically had like maybe 20 or 40 bucks to feed me the whole trip. There's like 4 days or something. So I'm fucking starving on this motherfucker, right? I'm Great Dogging it from the East Coast to the West. And I get into the fucking LA vicinity about that time. And this was getting to be right after Pac died. So probably in like the 96-ish round. 97-ish,
Yeah.
something like that. Somewhere back in that time, bro. And that's whenever I was getting to California. And so whenever I touched down in California, again, I find myself alone in a foreign land with no one to love me. Okay? So because I called the fucking homie up and he never answered the phone. I've been in California almost 20 something years right now. And I've never seen this motherfucker one time, bro. One time. This motherfucker never answered the phone. So what I did was I rustled up a bump. I say, Bump, where the fuck you be eating? How the fuck you live out here, bro? What's good? And he gives me the rundown on the shelter system. It tells me, hey, you need to get to downtown LA. That's where all the shelters are, right? And I'm like, okay, let me go to downtown LA. So I go back I was out in the suburbs, like a place called Pasadena, right? Which is kind of like right next to LA, kind of in the LA metro area, but not downtown LA. So I go back into the Great Dog people and I talk them into let me back on the bus that's going to the inline in in downtown LA. So they let me on the bus. I get brought down to downtown LA. That starts my California fucking journey right there, but so I end up downtown LA, bro. And if you've never been, just look up Fifth Street in San Julian on
Okay.
any Google's map.
We're gonna do
On
it right
any
now.
Google
said,
map,
okay,
you
Fifth
can do it
Street.
right now. Fifth Street in San Julian in downtown LA. There's a hotel down there called the Panama.
Hold on. You said we can look this up on any map. We're just gonna go to Street
Or,
View.
look, put on Street View on Google Earth.
Yeah, I'm working on this shit.
What?
There we go. Fifth Street and San Julian. Everybody,
Right.
You can see it now.
Downtown LA.
This is it.
And there's the Panama. Oh, they cleaned that motherfucker up. Over there's the park. Now, if you go down that street right there, Fifth Street, right, that goes right into downtown. Man, this is the most beautiful picture I've ever seen of this motherfucker. Where are all the bombs?
Ah.
Holy shit, they cleaned this shit up. This is amazing. This motherfucker's living in cardboard.
Imagine, like, Google edited out the bums?
Dude, they might have. Because, dog, like, seriously, look into the newspaper, bro. That shit is mania as fuck.
I don't know that we've
Anyway.
ever gone on Google Maps before on this. We should do this more
Hey.
often, people. This is
Whenever
fun.
I
I'm
hit,
gonna keep the
whenever I
Google
hit
Maps
Fifth
open
Street in
handy.
San Julian, I ended up down there, and they got me into a program because I never heard about this shit before. But in California, if you're just a regular dude and you're broke, they'll just give you fucking money. They call it GR, general relief. You feel me? And I've never had the thought that, because in Texas they don't do that, bro. If you can work, if you're a grown ass man and you can work, they're not giving you fuck all. Now, if you're a pregnant chick or something, you'll get welfare, but they don't give grown ass men that can work fucking welfare. That was an unheard of concept. So I was like, damn, they'll just give you money and food stamps. And back then they gave you actual food stamps with fucking paper, you know what I mean? And bus tokens and shit. So anyway, I would always go take the fucking food stamps down to the park and sell them to the fucking paisas, because they'll buy them at half the face value of cash out right there. Boom, half. So you get like $500 in food stamps and like $750, and then you go and get $250 for the food stamps, and you got a thou wow to come up on to get your pack. You know what I mean? But I lived in downtown LA, which is synonymous for like savage bumland, you know, like the dregs of society, bro. That is like the people that end up homeless in downtown at the
That's near
midnight
Skid
mission.
Row?
Yeah, that is Skid Row. What do you mean near Skid Row?
Bro, I don't
That
know.
is
Okay,
Skid Row.
I googled Skid Row a couple months back on some curiosity. I'm like, what's Skid Row? And then you look at how big this fucking area is, and you're like, and then maybe it was a Vice video. You know when Vice does some shit like, let's look into Skid Row. And one of them type of videos. And then I looked at it on the map, and I didn't know that was that. But, yo, that's fucking, like, wild.
No, that's Skid Row. And that's the cleanest I've ever seen Skid Row is down that good. Look, I have never not seen motherfuckers in cardboard. There's a police station right there that motherfuckers camp out in front of. Like right down the street from the hotel. But anyway, whenever I was down there, bro, it was like legit Skid Row. This is the 90s, you know what I mean? And so I ended up getting into the program, getting what they call an SRO, a single occupancy room. It's like a cell. You get to leave every day, but you got to give them the key to your room and then pick it up when you come back in. You got a 10 o'clock curfew. And then you could go around to all the missions down there and eat. And then people would always pull up, like churches and stuff would always pull up, and they would just, feed you out the back of their shit. You know what I mean? There's always be lines for shit. Motherfuckers just stand in lines down there. Like that's their job, to just stand in line and people give you shit. It's the most amazing thing I ever seen in life, bro. Seriously. They had this one bishop dude, Catholic dude, pulled up out every Sunday in the afternoon, and he'd bring out fat stack of dollars, bro, and hand everybody a dollar. Bing, 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 bing. In fact, I waited in that line for $1 a couple of times. Like you would wait 45 an hour in the line for a fucking dollar. Can you imagine that shit?
No,
That is like
sort of,
the
maybe.
pinnacle of what the fuck. You feel me?
I mean, I think it's super interesting. How many? I don't know anybody that was in Skid Row. I've never talked to a human being that was ever gone through that experience, and so yeah, and the media is never really gonna talk about it. This because
Oh,
nobody covers it. The best we're ever
look, I
gonna
used to
get
run.
is people who
Oh,
talk about it like this. This is the best we're ever gonna get on this because nobody was around back then. You know.
dude, I used to run protection for this lesbian broad with blue hair that used to sell crack out of her ass, and I would watch her back, keep motherfuckers from jacking her and shit. You know what I mean? Just straight up selling crack in downtown LA. That was probably the pinnacle of my fucking like my whole like, oh, I'm gonna be bad. I'm a badass dude. What do you want? And I end up fucking down crack dealer in downtown LA. That is like, what the fuck? How does that happen? Um, I guess I'm kind of telling you how it happens. Anyway,
That is an
so,
amazing self realization.
so look, I ended up deciding that hey man, I gotta like take advantage of these opportunities down here because so they helped me get a social security card. They helped me get a legit job, right? I started working for this boiler room in Hollywood and Vine. Um and Hollywood is away from like downtown LA. You gotta like get on a train for like a half hour, 45 minutes to get to Hollywood, right? So I would ride the train from downtown every day to Hollywood and Vine to go and work at uh, the uh, the boiler room for AT&T selling long distance to old people. Basically, you're slamming old people all day. This was a ruthless fucking thing. As a telemarketer, bro, it's fucking crazy. So essentially, I uh, I worked there for almost 2 years and lived in downtown LA at the hotel room and other various shelters throughout that process because you know periodically you had to vacate that motherfucker and go somewhere else. But uh, until the supervisor, right? He goes, he sees me going to the train and he's like, "Hey man, where do you live?" I said, "I live in downtown LA at the Panama." And he goes, "What the fuck? You live on Skid Row?" And he's just in utter fucking amazement, bro. Of like, you know, like, wow, you live with the bums, but you're up here working? Like, what the fuck? So he kind of puts me under his wing. And he says, "Nah, man, you got to move in with me in Hollywood." And this is when the Hollywood journey kicks off. And I moved to Cahuenga, right?
I don't know what a
And this
Kalanga
dude
is.
it's a fucking famous block in Hollywood. But listen, this block, Cahuenga and Wilcox, famous for fucking porn stars. This dude lives in a fucking building where all the porn stars live, bro. And literally like I'm fucking like I go from being where the bums are, bro, to being where all the fucking porn stars are, where the pool eye candy is just what the fuck. But they won't fuck with you because you have to have paperwork. There's like, you know what I mean? It's high. The AIDS epidemic shit was at a peak at that point. And if they didn't have you on paper, they weren't fucking you. But if you had paper and money, they fuck you. Yeah. But anyway, look. So he drags me off of Skid Row, bro, and moves me in with him, right? And lo and behold, come to find out that this fucking corporation dude at night was a coke dealer at the strip clubs. And he was a boss, a fucking boss. But he didn't have any protection. And basically, I was running protection for this guy. And so I would roll with him all night at the strip club with the best cocaine in LA, bro. And all the strippers you could fucking imagine. It was like if you was, it could have been some fucking kid's wet dream. Like really, it was awesome. So look, anyway, back Hollywood. That's whenever I really cracked it off in Hollywood. So there was like a long time of me being on Hollywood Boulevard, rapping, like creating crowds, freestyling on Hollywood Boulevard, trying to sell people my bullshit $5 mixtape that I had burned. I used to have the fucking tower burner, and I would burn my fucking mixtape on the tower burner and be like, "I'll sign it for you right now. I'm the artist. Listen to that with the boombox, bro. Listen to my shit. Buy this shit right now." And I started selling not only my shit but also other mixtapes. I was literally like on, hand in hand in Hollywood. And that's a treacherous fucking place, man. I ended up going all over like LA. You know what I mean? Just kind of falling in and out of shit, bro. I ended up at a place that had, some of my formative years were spent at a place on El Centro, across from the Bally's, man. There was like this office building. Used to call it the top floor, bro. It was filled up with basically rappers and producers. And there was just a mob of rappers and producers over there. We used to have fun, man. We call it the L block.
I don't know why you called it the L block.
Because it was on El Centro.
Oh, right.
So we called it the L block.
So
But it was like, if you could imagine like rap college, what rap college would be like, it was like rap college. There was guys getting deals. There was guys that you making noise, guys building a buzz. Shit was always going off around me. I was just always kind of like the character that people were expecting most likely to get washed up. Because I was pretty wild. I had a wild mouth, and somebody was probably going to kill me sooner than later. So, I ended up, I'm still alive, bro. I'm beating the odds 2 times over.
fair. I mean, I can see how you could run your mouth a little bit, and it might maybe not make people happy with you. Fair enough.
Oh
So
yeah,
you're cruising with a bunch of rappers on the streets of LA.
yeah. This is
Uh,
about the time I was at like Project Blowed in South Central. I used to go down to that.
yeah,
Fuck
shout
with
out the real friend for the follow. Appreciate that.
Yeah, go out to the fucking fuck with the Freestyle Fellowship and then Medusa, all those cats down there. It was fun, bro. They used to have this old dude that used to come around the Project Blow. They called him Dr. Rap. And when I say old dude, I'm talking like a 70, 80-year-old man. But they come and let him get in the cipher and let him fucking old white man, bro. And let him get in the cipher and I ended up getting fucking featured in a newspaper article with that dude one time. Cause we were like we were rapping side by side in the article, and they kind of talked to me a little bit about it. You know what I mean?
So because
It's
you,
one of my problems. I was a Thug Life model, bro. I used to fuck with this dude that did Thug Life clothing, and I modeled the fucking Jailhouse Jumper. Dude, there was Hip Toss, bro. He was one of my favorite fucking people. Like you fall in and out with people, you know what I mean? And it's not like I hate anybody. I love everybody, and if I see them to this day, unless there's dirt between us, uh, it's just that we lost connection, bro. We lost touch. There's like so many people I lost touch with, bro. Being like that apex wolf out here lone wolfing, cause yeah.
nah, it's
Anyway,
kind of what
that's all.
happens. But it's not even beyond lone wolfing, bro. You could be a pack animal. And if you compare most people's pack at 35 to their pack at 25, the number of similarities in those two packs is mad small. It's not. It's just kind of like it's like what happens. You get more interested in different things. The various paths of life drive you. Like maybe a lot of people's lives change because of the magical words "I'm pregnant."
Whoo! Now that's a lovely one.
So like, I mean, I don't know when that comes, but I'm just saying like, and then especially as you get older, it's like, yo, everybody be at different places chasing different things, and like, the statistical probability of every motherfucker getting the same deal at the same time and elevating together is like, it's
Man,
like,
but look,
like
I've seen it tear motherfuckers apart, bruh. I've seen it come to blows, come to shots. I've seen it get ugly. So, like, at the same time, I love and respect everyone. You know what I mean? And I expect that back in this world. And eventually, when your karma zeroes out, and you get to that point where, because I've spent my youth destroying and lying and being a fucking total shithead and a dirtbag, that I make no qualms about it. That was absolutely, I was a total fucking tool. And I get it, everybody out there that got on the wrong end of vice back then, I apologize. I got my sincerest apology, look, publicly stated. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I was able to make it and live to the point where I was able to um kind of normalized, I would call it. Because at a point in time, bro, I'm not really formally educated. I graduated from the county jail. I got a GED in jail. You feel me? And from that point, I would never pay to learn something that somebody else will pay me to fucking learn. You dig what I'm saying? So at the point in time that, you know, I learned this early in life. Um, if you're the most valuable person in the room, people take you places and give you shit. That's so I was always the guy that was like, okay, I could do that. Let me, and I would find out. I would figure out how to do whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? And I would make it happen. Sometimes it didn't end well and it wasn't great work, but I would always give it a shot. You know what I mean? Uh, Till I kind of stumbled into a trade that, speaks my language. And, you know, but that's one thing. But I never really had like a regular like factory job, bro. Like my brother, he got nut cancer from some fucking nuclear factory in Texas, and I never went down that road, bro.
I
It's
just
always been
almost all of your things, man, are unexpected. Like nobody was expecting you to throw the "my brother got nut cancer" up in there and to follow all of that up. Like like I love this dude. Your fucking energy's proper for this type of thing.
I mean, people are trying to dominate my time right now. They're trying to tell me what to do, and I've never been good at getting told what to do, man.
Do you mean like
Just I'm
literally right now, or like in the general sense of right now?
literally, metaphorically, physically, and fucking beating on my office door, man. My trailer. I got a little trailer beside my house because I have 6 kids. And you gotta have a place where you can lock yourself away for a second, get back in touch with who you are, and then come back to the situation and make it better. Otherwise, we'll spin our tires till we make everything as worse as it can possibly be. You know, there's a lot of fucking growing up to do still. I got to do, but at this point in time in life, like I'm very pleased being lower middle class. I am very pleased having the ability to provide for my many children. I'm very pleased that I'm articulate and intelligent enough to keep a roof over everybody's heads, keep food in their bellies, and not end up fucking washed out. Because that is the deficit of fathers in this world, I believe, is at the core of most issues that we have. I had a deficit of a father, and I ended up so hard headed and stupid that I boomeranged my life out of control and somehow ended up safely somewhere. And that in and of itself is fucking amazing to me.
It is definitely amazing. No, for real. I mean, the fact that you're at a place in your life where you're able to sit here and talk about. I fucking swear, dude, you should write a book about this shit with a lot of details that you can put into it as much. Cause it's really
Right.
movie esque, man. It's like
I tell you what, bro. Look, my friends will come up and tell me shit about me that I don't have any recollection of at all. And it happens all the fucking time, bro. Uh my boy, like look, there's also a section of my life where I end up in Hawaii. Believe it or not,
Okay,
that's
okay.
where I got this
How do you
belly
go to
from.
Hawaii? Is that
I
after
got this.
LA or
That was after LA, before Louisiana, and post Northern Cali.
okay? So what happens? You're in LA. You're cruising around with a bunch of rappers and stuff, doing rapper college. Are you still
That's
living
where I
with?
meet my current wife.
So you meet your current wife in
Well,
rapper college?
I met. Look, I bet I have two baby. I have two women that have my children.
Mm.
My oldest daughter is from that previous relationship, and I met her in LA, and I met my current five daughters that live with me, mother in LA as well. Um, so that was a double cycle, and in between, so I met my first. This is like so. Okay, I guess we're transitioning. It was the L block both times with both wives. It it's crazy,
So
man. Hold
apparently
on.
the L block helps you get some action. That's what I've learned about the L block. Is the best
Well, the
was
L block got
balling
me this
back in the old
scar.
man type of way of the term balling.
Look, man. Let's put it like this, right? So my first go around in LA was all wildness, mixtapes, and just fuckery. And I ended up batting above my weight class and ended up with a fucking calendar model, bro. But she happened to be from Hawaii, right? And so when we got pregnant, right, we decided that we're not having a kid in LA. Like I would never have a kid in LA. That's out of the question. Because I know what LA is. It's the fucking black hole of soul suck. It is something that will chew you up and fucking spit you out. And if you're not ready for that type of action, it will fucking ruin you. So we're not gonna do it, right? So it was either, hey, go back to my people in Texas or go to her people in Hawaii. And if you got a choice between Texas and Hawaii, come on, man. You know Hawaii's winning that shit hands down. I'm going to Hawaii. Tropical fucking paradise. Come on. I never even planned to do that shit. I've never planned to live anywhere I've lived. I just end up there. Leaf on the wind status. But so we're pregnant. This is like 2001, right? This is right before the world trade happens. Check this out, right? I had a ticket booked for 9/11 to fly from LAX to Hawaii.
That's wild.
So what's happening, right, is I ended up getting fucking locked up, and she was mad about the shit, and she burnt off and she went to Hawaii, and she was with her mom, and I was supposed to get out of jail, get my shit together, and get out of there and get there before um, the baby's born. My baby was due on 9/11, right? So my whole mentality was hit the street running because I got locked up, man, because I got caught in the Bank of America with some bad paper that I got from the Nigerians. And they ended up throwing me into twins for like 4 months for that shit. So like I and that kicked off a whole bunch of shit, but I was trying to hustle bad paper back in the day, man. And so I got hit with some fraud charges. And I was like, okay, fuck, man. So I shut down these little fraud charges and just, muscled through that shit. And she had to go. She went to her mom's. And, I got out. I get back in the streets with my peoples. They put me up. I'm laying in bed, bro. I'm like, finally, I hustle up enough bread to get the plane ticket, have a little nut to start with to get it, to try and make a go of it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna let any one of my kids grow up without a father, bro. I refuse. You know what I mean? I'm not ever. I would never abandon my family.
Right.
That would be the last thing on earth I would do. So I go out there, right? Uh, I get out of jail, I grind, I get my bars up, I get ready, everything's prepped, right? Um, and I'm staying at my people's place. They the shit goes down, bro. 9/11. They shake me out of bed like Vice. Look at this shit. I wake up and I see the fucking TV. They got it on in the room, and I'm looking at the shit come down. I'm like, oh fuck me. And so at that point in time, I grabbed my shit and I went to LAX, bro. And I just hauled ass there, bro. And that whole time from 9/11 to like 9/15, no, yeah, 9/15, those 4 days I spent at LAX, like with all my shit waiting to get on the first plane, smoking to fucking Hawaii. And I'm trying to tell her to just hold on. I'm on my fucking way. Do not have that baby without me, because I refuse to let any of my children be born without me there to see them be born. I've seen every one of my kids born. Um, so I go to the I fighting with the airport people. I'm on the first thing smoking to Hawaii. Let's put it like that. And so she was born on the 17th that year, right? And then so fast forward that time, right? Like '05 hits, and I remember because I ended up having a long story short, I lasted that long, probably 5 years on in Hawaii. And bad shit happened. I'm not going into uh occupado, please. Thank you. So that's part of having a big family too. You get no privacy unless you have locks and a loud voice. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. So
Or if you don't have a loud voice, here's a solution: record yourself and then get a speaker and play yourself.
no, they need me and I need them and I love them. So, you know, but I have to be me too. There's a balance you gotta strike with everybody. But so anyway, she was born in 17 and went through that period there, and there was a falling out situation there that ended badly. And I was kind of distraught on the island, just going crazy, absolutely bananas for about 9 or 10 months there. And one of my friends evac'd me off of the island back to the mainland, right? And then I came back to the L block, and then I was out back